Hey guys, Madison here, back for Film Friday number 41, and today I am watching A Few Good Men, another very popular movie that I had not heard of until people on YouTube started recommending it to me, and then I look it up and it's this legal drama with a very star-studded cast, and I was like, have I not heard of this? I need to see this. It has so many good actors in it. So here I am. It won the poll by a lot this week, and I'm excited to give it a watch. But first, I want to say a huge thank you to you guys because you have blown me away with your support of my past two reactions. I reacted to the first two Terminator movies, and the subscribers. I just hit 12,000 like a week ago, and now I'm at 13,000, almost 14,000, and I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody. I'm so grateful to you guys for your support and for your engagement. I love reading through your comments every week and getting to interact with you guys in that way. Even though I don't respond usually to comments, I do see them and I'll like them to let you guys know I've seen them and I'm reading them. But yeah, just thank you guys so much. Thank you to the new patrons. I'm so appreciative of every single one of you, and I hope you guys enjoy this reaction. So without further ado, guys, let's do this. Guantanamo Bay. What's happening? Not good. Man. That's amazing.
Would it be I who unsigned? That's confidence inspiring. Good grammar there. Dawson and Downey are both recruiting poster Marines, and Santiago was known to be a screw-up. I was thinking it sounded an awful lot like a code red. In short, Captain, I'd like to suggest that I be the one that it be me who is assigned to represent them.
Commander, I'd like you to leave the room so we can talk about you behind your back.
Certainly, sir.
Commander, we're going to have the defendants moved up here in the morning.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll have division assign them counsel.
But not me. Sir, I think there might be more involved than that.
Don't worry about it. I promise you, division will assign the right man for the job.
All right, let's go.
The right man. Yeah, we get it.
Sorry. Dave, you seem distraught.
We were supposed to meet in your office 15 minutes ago to talk about the McDermott case. You're stalling on this thing.
If the MTD is denied, I'll file a motion in limine seeking to obtain an evidentiary ruling in advance. And after that, I'm going to file against pretrial confinement.
I don't know why I'm agreeing to this.
You have wisdom beyond your years.
He's quick. Quick on his feet.
All right, Danny, I know you don't have a good excuse, so I won't force you to come up with a bad one.
Thank you, sir.
Cappy will have this done in about 4 days.
Doing various administrative things.
In other words, I have no responsibilities here whatsoever.
Right.
My kind of case.
Right.
Daniel Caffey, I was told to meet with, Lieutenant Commander Galloway.
You're the attorney division assigned?
I'm lead counsel to Sam Weinberg.
I have no responsibilities here whatsoever.
Come in, please, have a seat.
She's like, you gotta be kidding me.
Have you ever been in a courtroom?
I once had my driver's license suspended.
Danny,
Commander, from what I understand, if this thing goes to court, they won't need a lawyer. They'll need a priest.
One of the people you'll be seeing down there is the barracks CO, Colonel Nathan Jessup.
he's been in the papers lately. He's expected to be appointed Director of Operations at National Security Council.
These are the letters that Santiago wrote.
And Santiago is who?
The victim.
Write that down. Am I correct in assuming that these letters don't paint a flattering picture of me?
You haven't talked to a witness or looked at a piece of paper.
Pretty impressive, huh?
You're gonna have to go deeper than that.
Sure.
You're dismissed.
I always forget that part.
I've fallen out on runs before, for several reasons, such as feeling dizzy or nauseated. I was brought to the hospital where I was told I just had heat exhaustion. I ask you to help me. Please, sir, I just need to be transferred out of RSC.
I want to know what we're going to do about this. I think Santiago should be transferred off the base immediately.
Santiago stays where he is. We're gonna train the lad. Santiago doesn't make 4646, and I'm going to blame you. Then I'm going to kill you.
Yes, sir.
I think that's a mistake, Colonel.
Why don't we meet at the O Club and have lunch, and we'll talk about the training of young William.
Jack Nicholson can be so freaking intimidating.
We're in the business of saving lives, Matthew. That is a responsibility that we have to take pretty seriously, and I believe. Don't ever question my orders in front of another officer.
Whoa. I mean, if the guy's not physically fit for duty, he shouldn't be stationed anywhere.
I wanted to talk to you about Corporal Dawson and Private Downey.
Those names sound like they should mean something to me, but I've
Dawson, Downey, the clients.
done something wrong again, haven't I?
I was just wondering why two guys have been locked up since this morning while their lawyer's outside hitting a ball. You're just treading water for the 3 years you've got to serve in the JAG Corps. Just kind of laying low till you can get out and get a real job. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I allowed Dawson and Downey to spend any more time in prison than absolutely necessary because their attorney had predetermined the path of least resistance. Santiago died at 1 a.m. At 3, the doctor wasn't able to determine the cause of death. 2 hours later, he said it was poison.
Well, I appreciate your interest and admire your enthusiasm. I think I can handle things myself.
You know what a code red is? What a pity.
Yeah, so far I'm with her. She should have been assigned. But we'll see what he does here.
You don't have to call me sir. Is this your signature?
Sir, yes, sir.
Certainly don't need to do it twice in one sentence. What's code red?
Sir, a Marine refuses to bathe on a regular basis. The men in his squad would give him a GI shower.
Was the attack on Santiago code red?
Yes, sir.
Private Downey, the rag you stuffed in Santiago's mouth, was there poison on it?
No, sir.
Silver polish, turpentine, antifreeze?
No, sir.
Santiago's letter to the NIS said you fired illegally. What was your intent?
To train him, sir.
Train him to do what?
Train him to think of his unit before himself.
He just wanted to get back at him.
Harold, I think there's a concept you better start warming up to.
Sir?
I'm the only friend you've got.
Dan Caffey.
Smiling Jack Ross.
Welcome to the big time.
The autopsy lab reports, they all say the same thing. Maybe, maybe not.
Chief of Internal Medicine at the Guantanamo Bay Naval Hospital says he's sure.
So they said they couldn't determine the cause of death, and then he decided it was poisoning 2 hours later.
You got authorization from Aunt Jenny?
I gave her a call like you asked.
Does Aunt Jenny have a barn? We could hold the trial there. I can sew the costumes. Maybe his Uncle Goober can be the judge.
I'm going to Cuba with you tomorrow.
And the hits just keep on coming.
There's gonna be something more going on here. I'm just... Obviously, Jack Nicholson is my primary suspect.
Now, don't forget, when Sally gets back, you're my witness. The baby's
No.
fault. My daughter said a word.
She was pointing at a mailbox, Sam.
That's right. Pointing as if to say, Pa, look, a mailbox.
You don't believe their story, do you?
I believe every word of their story, and I think they ought to go to jail for the rest of their lives.
What if Santiago was poisoned at dinner or something, and the poison didn't take effect until later?
You get sick when you fly.
I get sick when I fly because I'm afraid of crashing into a large mountain. I don't think Dramamine will help. He said the platoon commander, Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick, had a meeting with the men and specifically told them not to touch Santiago. I never mentioned Kendrick. I don't even know who he is.
What if he was poisoned earlier in the day or in the evening, and then the stress of the encounter with Downey and Dawson triggered, you know, whatever was already in there, or like a pill, some kind of poison, and then boom, suddenly he's dying, and they're like, we didn't mean to kill him, we were just trying to do whatever. And it was actually whoever at the base really poisoned him. Because some poisons can take like hours to take effect. And then it's less obvious who did it. But why poison him?
The Cubans see an officer wearing white. They think it might be someone they want to take a shot at.
Good call, Sam. Nobody said anything about a boat.
Is there a problem, sir?
You're in the Navy, for crying out loud.
Nobody likes her very much.
I mean, I'm with him. I don't like planes or boats much either. Only if I'm on a lake.
JAG Corps insists that we interview all the relevant witnesses.
The JAG Corps can be demanding that way.
I understand you had a meeting with your men that afternoon.
Yes, I did.
What time was that meeting?
1600.
4 o'clock. Have I done something to offend you?
No, I like all you Navy boys. Every time we gotta go someplace to fight, you fellas always give us a ride.
Yeah.
Kendrick, you think Santiago was...
He is dead because he had no code. He is dead because he had no honor. And God was watching.
So you're saying he deserved that?
If you feel there are any details that I'm missing, you should feel free to speak up.
We agreed that for his own safety, Santiago should be transferred off the base.
Santiago was transferred.
That's not what you were saying.
Do Code Red still happen on this base, Colonel?
Joe, the Colonel doesn't need to answer that.
I need an answer to my question, sir.
Take caution in your tone, Commander. You want to ask me about Code Reds on the record, I tell you I discourage the practice in accordance with the Commander's directive. Off the record, I tell you it is an... Don't think for 1 second that you can come down here, flash a badge, and make me nervous.
Let's go. Santiago's transfer, you guys have paperwork on that kind of thing. I just need it for the file.
For the file.
Yeah.
And there ain't gonna be one.
You gotta ask me nicely.
Colonel Jessup, if it's not too much trouble, I'd like a copy of the transfer order.
No problem.
Good grief. Can you say tension? Suspense? Oof. He's terrifying. I almost wonder if Santiago wasn't even poisoned, but like they drove him to a point of exhaustion where like his body gave out. I mean, like what if he had a heart condition or something? And they pushed him too hard.
Markinson's disappeared.
What?
Colonel Markinson's gone UA. Unauthorized absence.
I know what it means.
Aunt Ginny. She said she feels like she's known me for years. So I suggested that she might feel more comfortable if I were directly involved with the case. She had Loudon sign the papers about it. I think Kendrick ordered the Code Red, and so do you.
I could see that. Because he certainly acted like Santiago deserved it.
Did Lieutenant Kendrick order you guys to give Santiago a Code Red?
Yes, sir.
Did he?
Kendrick specifically told those men not to touch Santiago.
That's right. And then he went into Dawson and Downey's room and specifically told him to give him a Code Red.
You know what Markinson did for the first 17 of his 26 years in the Corps? Counterintelligence. Markinson's gone. There is no Markinson. Look, Danny.
No deal. We're going to court.
Joe.
No, you're not.
Why not?
Because you'll lose. And Danny knows it. I'll see you tomorrow morning at the arraignment.
Wow.
All right. The government's offering involuntary manslaughter 2 years. Be home in 6 months.
I won't say that I'm guilty, sir.
Did she put you up to this?
We'll be dishonorably discharged, right, sir?
Probably.
Well, what do we do then, sir?
I believe I did my job, and I will not dishonor myself, my unit, or the Corps so I can go home in 6 months! Sir.
Wow. Here I was thinking badly of him at the start of the movie.
What happened to saluting an officer when he leaves the room? Do you really think that's the same as 2 teenage Marines executing a routine order they never believed would result in harm?
Don't look now, Danny, but you're making an argument.
Yeah. Tomorrow morning. You and Dawson, you both live in the same dream world. It doesn't matter what I believe. It only matters what I can prove.
You're a used car salesman, Daniel. You're an ambulance chaser with a rank. You're nothing. Live with that.
Ouch. He needs to put his ego aside and be willing to lose. Gotta be willing to try. Is he ever on time to anything?
Does defense wish to enter a plea?
They're not guilty. What does a lieutenant junior grade with 9 months experience and a track record for plea bargaining get assigned a murder case? Would it be so that it never sees the inside of a courtroom?
Oh.
The only thing I have to eat is Yoo-hoo and Cocoa Puffs, so if you want anything else, bring it with you. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is what a courtroom looks like.
I love it. That's great. He's so sharp when he just tries.
Are you able to speak to your friend at the NIS?
I've got medical reports and Chinese food. I say we eat first.
From now on, Willie is Private Santiago. You start calling him Willie, and all of a sudden he's a person who's got a mother who's gonna miss him. Okay? You do the court members this afternoon. Santiago's dead, and he shouldn't be. These 9 people are gonna insist that someone be blamed for that. Ross is handing them our clients, we're gonna hand them Kendrick. Don't wear that perfume in court. Wrecks my concentration.
Really?
I was talking to Sam. We've had our differences. I said some things I didn't mean. You said some things you didn't mean. But you're happy that I stuck with the case. You like me. I won't make you say it.
I was just gonna tell you to wear matching socks tomorrow.
Okay. Good tip. We're gonna get creamed.
It's not the attitude to have. Positive thinking. Positive.
It's not my place to
Lance Corporal
question.
Dawson's been charged with a number of crimes. Why wasn't he charged with firing at the enemy without cause?
There wasn't enough evidence to support such a charge.
Thank you.
Santiago was the only eyewitness. I never had the chance to interview him, so I don't know what he saw.
And now we'll never know. Will we, Mr. McGuire?
Corporal Carl Edward Hammaker, Marine Barracks.
The defense is willing to concede that all 22 witnesses will testify substantially as Corporal Hammaker did. If the government is willing to concede that none of them were in Dawson and Downey's room at 1620 on September 6th.
The government will stipulate.
Oh, man.
3 o'clock, Stone says he doesn't know what killed Santiago. Then he meets with Jessup, and at 5 o'clock he says it was poison?
We can't prove coercion. Now let's go over what we have, okay?
It's gotta be something.
Lactic acid is what caused Santiago's lungs to bleed.
Normally, how long does it take for the muscles and other cells?
Commander, is it possible for a person to have an affliction, some sort of condition, which might also speed up the process of acidosis?
And being overworked.
It's possible. If a person had a coronary disorder or cerebral disorder, the process would be more rapid.
Is it possible to have a serious coronary condition where the initial warning signals were so mild as to escape a physician during a routine medical exam?
There are hundreds of...
Chest pains?
Yes.
Shortness of breath?
Yes.
Fatigue?
Of course.
Uh-huh.
Initial testing, negative. Patient complains of chest pains, shortness of breath, and fatigue. Restricted from running distances over 5 miles for 1 week.
How fascinating.
Isn't it possible that Santiago had a serious coronary condition? It was that condition and not some mysterious poison that caused the accelerated chemical reaction.
No. Private Santiago was given a clean bill of health.
Dr. Stone, you've held the license to practice medicine for 17 years. You're board certified in internal medicine. You are chief of internal medicine.
So what?
Serves 5,000. In your expert, professional opinion, was Willie Santiago poisoned?
Yes.
Commander, you may step down.
Objection. Overruled. No, 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 no. No, I strenuously object. Oh, wow. Strenuously object, and I should take some time to reconsider.
I got it on the record.
Sam, she made a mistake. Let's not relive it.
Why do you like them so much?
Because they stand on a wall. And they say nothing's gonna hurt you tonight. Not on my watch.
1 and 2 with 2 out.
I was wondering how you'd feel about my taking you to dinner tonight.
Are you asking me out on a date?
No.
Hell, that no.
I see you convincing them, and I think Dawson and Downey are gonna end up owing their lives to you.
Joe, Joe, we're gonna lose. And we're gonna lose huge. Corporal Barnes, name some reasons why a Marine would receive a code red.
We were doing 7-man assault drills, and my weapon slipped. It was just because it was over 100 degrees and my palms were sweaty. That night, the guys in my squad threw a blanket over me. Took turns punching me in the arm for 5 minutes. And then they poured glue on my hands. I ain't never dropped my weapon since.
Was Private Santiago ever late for platoon meetings? You got a code red because your palms were sweaty. Why didn't Santiago, this burden to his unit, ever get one?
Dawson wouldn't allow it, sir.
Dawson wouldn't allow it. Jeffrey, did you ever want to give Santiago a code red?
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you?
Because Dawson would kick my butt, sir.
Good enough. Captain Ross can ask you something.
That's good. That's good.
Is there no book, no manual or pamphlet, no set of orders or regulations that lets me know that as a Marine, one of my duties is to perform code reds?
No book, sir.
No further questions.
Would you turn to the page in this book that says where the mess hall is, please?
Well, Lieutenant Caffey, that's not in the book, sir.
How did you know where the mess hall was if it's not in this book?
Not everything's in the book.
The lives of 2 Marines are in your hands. If there was something I could do about that, I would, but since I can't, all I can do is help you, Lieutenant. He was never going to be transferred off that base.
You've got the transfer order. It's got your signature.
Yeah, I know. I signed him the morning you arrived in Cuba, 5 days after Santiago died.
I'm going to get you a deal, sir.
I want you to know that I'm proud neither of what I have done nor of what I am doing.
That was what we needed. We needed him to show up again. Because he knew
Redirect on Barnes.
all that was going on.
Markinson's not going to hold up, Danny. He's a crazy man. I'm not saying this to intimidate you. I'm being your lawyer here.
Oh, thanks, Jack. And I want to tell you that
You got bullied into that courtroom by the memory of a dead lawyer. Your boys are going down, Danny. I can't stop it anymore.
Lieutenant Kendrick, in your opinion, was Private Santiago a good Marine?
I'd say he was about average.
Lieutenant, you signed 3 proficiency and conduct reports on Santiago. On all 3 reports, you indicated a rating of below average.
I have 2 books at my bedside, Lieutenant. The Marine Corps Code of Conduct and the King James Bible. The only proper authorities I am aware of are my commanding
Answer the
Nathan R.
question.
Jessup and the Lord our God.
Have you ever ordered a code red?
No, I have not.
Lieutenant, did you order Dawson and 2 other men to make sure... But you did order the barracks restriction, didn't you? You did order the denial of food.
Yes, I did.
Wouldn't this form of discipline be considered a code red?
The government's objection is sustained, Lieutenant Caffey, and I would remind you that you're now questioning a Marine officer with an impeccable service record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So what if his record is impeccable?
Dawson given a rating of below average on this. What crime did he commit?
He disobeyed an order.
And because he did, because he exercised his own set of values, because he made a decision, can Dawson determine on his own which orders he's going to follow?
No, he cannot.
A lesson he learned after the Curtis Bell incident, am I right?
Object. Sustained.
If you had ordered Dawson to give Santiago a code red...
I specifically ordered those men...
Is it reasonable to think he would have disobeyed you again?
Lieutenant Kendrick, did you...
No, I did not.
Thank you.
Well, this is so good.
Jessup.
What are you telling me? He fixed the logbook? Well, maybe he can make it so a plane didn't take off, but I can sure as hell prove that one landed.
That is true.
Andrews.
Nathan Jessup is about to be appointed Director of Operations for the National Security Council. You don't get to that position without knowing how to sidestep a few landmines.
The corruption goes high.
The ground crew
You think they'll let us go back to our platoon soon, ma'am?
Absolutely. Remember the order of the questions?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
And they'll use small words.
Yes.
Because he gets rattled when he doesn't understand something.
Joe.
I'm just saying, go slow.
She cares so much.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Santiago, your son is dead for only one reason. I wasn't strong enough to stop it.
Private, I want you to tell us one last time. Why did you go to
Are you
Private
for
Santiago
real?
on the night of September 6th?
A code red was ordered by my platoon commander, Lieutenant Jonathan James. Thank you.
They needed him to testify.
Well, if you didn't make it back to the barracks until 1645, how could you be in your room at 1620? Did you ever actually hear Lieutenant Kendrick order a code red?
No, sir. I was given an order by my squad leader, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson, United States Marine Corps, and I followed it.
So only Dawson actually heard the order. Was actually given the order.
Danny, it was a setback. And I'm sorry. But we fix it and move on to Markinson.
Markinson's dead.
You put him on the stand and you get it from him.
Oh, we get it from him. Yes, no problem. We get it from him. Lieutenant Caffey will have a long and prosperous career teaching typewriter maintenance at the Rocco Colombo School for Women. Thank you for playing. Should we or should we not follow the advice of the galactically stupid?
It's not looking good, but I believe in him.
If I were Dawson and Downey and I had a choice between you or your father to represent me in this case, I'd choose you any day of the week and twice on Sunday. You should have seen yourself thunder away, Kendrick. Neither Lionel Caffey nor Sam Weinberg are lead counsel for the defense in the matter of U.S. versus Dawson and Downey.
You are.
So there's really only one question. What would you do?
Step out of your father's shadow.
I was angry. I'm sorry about what I said. I'm gonna put Jessup on the stand.
What's a transfer order without a witness?
We have a witness.
A dead witness.
In the hands of a lesser attorney, that'd be a problem.
Swimming in Jack Daniels.
He eats breakfast 300 yards away from 4,000 Cubans that are trained to kill him. I need to shake him, put him on the defensive, and lead him right where he's dying to go.
That's the plan?
That's the plan.
How are you gonna do it?
I have no idea.
Stay here. I'm going to the office for a while.
What? He just thought of something. Was there something wrong with Santiago's closet? I remember them showing him looking at his uniforms.
How are you feeling?
Well, I think Jessup's gonna have his hands full today.
Listen, Danny. If you feel like he's not gonna say it, don't go for it.
She cares about him now. Don't back off, Danny. You got this.
Defense calls Colonel Nathan Jessup.
I ordered Markinson to have Santiago transferred off the base immediately.
Why?
I felt his life might be in danger.
You got one lie out of him.
Is there another kind?
I'm wondering why Santiago wasn't packed. Tell you what, we'll get back to that one in a minute.
That's right.
Telephone calls made from your base. And according to you, he was getting on a plane in 6 hours. Yet everything he owned was hanging neatly in his closet. You were leaving for one day. You packed a bag and made 3 phone calls. The fact is, there was no transfer order. Santiago wasn't going anywhere. Isn't that right, Colonel?
Objection. It's my recommendation, sir, that Lieutenant Caffey be reprimanded for his conduct and the witness be
No, he just wants him to answer a question.
Are these really the questions that I was called here to answer? Phone calls and foot lockers?
Lieutenant, do you have anything further for this witness?
I didn't dismiss you.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not through with my examination.
I don't know what the hell kind of unit you're running here.
And the witness will address this court as Judge or Your Honor. I'm quite certain I've
Defense will be calling Airman Cecil O'Malley and Airman Anthony Rodriguez. They were working the ground crew at Andrews at 2 a.m. on the 7th.
This is ridiculous.
Colonel, a moment ago,
Check the tower logs.
Lieutenant Kendrick to tell his...
It's getting flustered.
...that Santiago was... If you gave an order that Santiago wasn't to be touched, and your orders are always followed, then why would Santiago be in danger? Why would it be necessary to transfer him off the base? And your men follow orders or people die. So Santiago shouldn't have been in any danger at all, should he have, Colonel?
You snotty little bastard.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess.
Lieutenant Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he? Because that's what you told Lieutenant Kendrick to do.
Object!
And when it went bad, you cut these guys loose!
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall.
You ordered the code red.
I did the job.
Did you order the code red?
You're damn right I did!
The members of the court will retire to an anteroom until further instructed.
What the hell is this? Colonel, what's going on?
You have the right to remain silent. Any statement
I'm
you
being
make
charged with a
used
crime.
against you in a trial by court-martial.
Is that what
or
this is?
judicial or admini-
Sweet dreams, son.
Don't call me son. I'm a lawyer and an officer. And you're under arrest, you son of a bitch. The witness is excused.
Fantastic.
On the charge of murder, the members find the accused not guilty. On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder, the members find the accused not guilty. On the charge of conduct unbecoming a United States Marine, guilty as charged. And you are ordered to be dishonorably discharged from the Marine Corps. Court-martial is adjourned.
What did we do wrong? We did nothing wrong.
Yeah, we did. We were supposed to fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves. We were supposed to fight for Willie.
Yeah. I get it.
You don't need to wear a patch in your arm to have honor. Unless I'm mistaken, they're both going to testify under oath that they had absolutely no recollection of anything. Strong witnesses. And handsome too, didn't you think?
I gotta go arrest Kendrick.
Tell him I say hi.
Will do.
Justice prevails. You'll love to see it. Too often it doesn't these days, but boy, that was satisfying. Wow. So, two words just were in my mind in that final courtroom showdown between Kathy and, what was it? I can't remember. Jack Nicholson's character, the Colonel. It was riveting and electrifying, which is something a lot of people probably don't think of when they think of a courtroom drama. They probably think boring, legal jargon that they can't understand. But this was a masterfully written script. I mean, I myself am no courtroom expert. And I was like, man, I wonder if there's going to be some stuff in this movie that just goes over my head or stuff that confuses me or what. No, I was able to follow the whole thing perfectly. The script was so tight They explained everything perfectly. They set up all the pieces. It was like a chess game. They set up all the pieces. They very clearly laid out the crime, who did what, who played what role, what's going on here. And then they just played the chess game to perfection. I mean, I was so engaged with this film, just trying to figure out what happened, who's responsible, who played what role in this, because there were a lot of players. There was the Colonel, there was Kendrick, God, why am I blanking on names? I never do this. The Mick guy. There were all these players involved, and you keep going farther up the chain of command, and you know that the Colonel was corrupt because they showed us near the beginning him not wanting to transfer Santiago and insisting that he stay, even though he was clearly physically unfit for duty. I mean, collapsing and all of that. Having a condition probably that went ignored and unaddressed. And then, it's sad to see Dawson and Downey dishonorably discharged. But when you look at it from a moral standpoint, that was what had to happen. Because even though they were following an order, which in their mind is the right thing, not to question or defy an order, morally it was the wrong thing, because they did something to a man that caused his death unintentionally. They didn't want to kill him, but it resulted in his death. So someone has to answer for that. And man, that was just an incredible film. I don't even have to Google it to know that probably won several Oscars. Fantastic performances by Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson and Demi Moore. Like, oh my gosh. Demi's character, Jo, was fantastic because she was so straight-laced and by the book, but she just cared. She cared about people. She cared about doing the right thing. She was so passionate about making sure justice was done, when at first Danny was so just nonchalant about the whole thing. But I think so much of that was him pretending not to care as kind of a self-defense mechanism. And he was very much living in his father's shadow, like his father, renowned as one of the greatest lawyers ever. I think they said he was the attorney general at some point, like living in his father's shadow, probably afraid that if he ever actually got into the courtroom and was doing these cases, he would never live up to what his father achieved. But then when it came down to it, he stepped up to the plate and he took on the case and he nailed it. He did. That was just so well written. The emotional beats too, like it is about the case, yeah, but you are tracing this clear arc for the characters and their triumphs and their losses along the way, and being like, how are we ever gonna win this case? It seems impossible. But Demi's character, Jo, was just so hopeful in the face of what seemed to be certain defeat. I loved her being that kind of playing that role of encouraging and insisting, like, we can do this, even when maybe she didn't believe it herself on the inside, but she kept fighting for it and refusing to give up because she wanted justice to be done. And the score was fantastic, and it wasn't there a lot of the time, so when it came in, it just boom, it was powerful and completely just captured those emotions it was wanting you to feel. Like, especially in that scene when she was walking in the rain and Danny drives up and he's like, I'm gonna put him on the stand, and the music swells. That was just like, cinema. Oh my gosh, that was just wow. Since I've started reacting to films, which I started doing this probably about a year ago now, When I started reacting to movies on my channel, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I was not a Tom Cruise fan. I have never, in like my whole life, I was never just a Tom Cruise fan. I had never really watched his movies. Obviously, I knew who he was. He's one of the most famous people in the world, one of the most famous actors in the world, but I had never really watched his movies. I was always kind of like, yeah, whatever, Tom Cruise. Probably overrated. Well, since I've started reacting to movies on my channel, I've watched Top Gun, I've watched, well, and now Top Gun Maverick. I went to the theater to see that, and Minority Report, Rain Man, and now this film. And I can say with 100% confidence, he is a fantastic actor, and I I was wrong to make assumptions about him with, you know, disregarding completely actors and their personal lives, because that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about who they are with their craft and what they can do in films. And he's a fantastic actor, and he stood there and held his own against Jack Nicholson, one of the most iconic actors. Jack Nicholson is so fantastically terrifying when he wants to be, and so intimidating. And man, especially as this character, he was just like, how do you stand up to a guy like that? It seems like he has an answer for everything, and he's kind of, I think unflappable is the right word, like you couldn't shake him. But Danny finally got to him and got him so worked up that he confessed, even though the witnesses that were there didn't actually have the evidence he needed. Which is brilliant, just to have them there and make him panic and snap like that was fantastic. But Tom Cruise, seeing him, young Tom Cruise, by the way, standing there really holding his own, and just acting so much as like a tennis match where you serve and you're volleying back and forth and responding to the other actor, and watching Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson volley back and forth in that scene and get louder and get more and more like emotional was just like so satisfying as a lover of movies. I mean, every second of this movie was just so compelling. I absolutely loved it. Fantastic. Might give it a 10 out of 10. Like, there were no weaknesses in this movie. I saw only strengths, and I really cared about all of the characters, the trio that we had working on the case. I cared about Downey and Dawson and what was going to happen to them. And at first, you're just like, oh, they're murderers, they're horrible people. And then you're like, wait, there's more to the story here, and they're just trying to be good Marines. And yeah, they did something wrong, obviously, and they had to be punished for that, but they wanted to be honorable men. They wanted to be good Marines, and that they wanted it so badly, like to a fault. But I cared about them. I cared about what happened to them. And I wanted to see justice done. And the way it was handled and wrapped up at the end was so satisfying. And then Dawson, who really did not like Danny and really just had no respect for him, even though Danny was a naval officer, saluting him at the end and showing, like, you've earned my respect, and you stood up there and defended us and fought for the truth. And that was just such a moving end. And seeing Danny and Joe, who, did not like or respect each other at first, come to that mutual respect over the course of the story and become friends. Fantastic. I know I've said fantastic about 15 times already in this review, but I just absolutely loved that movie, and I'm so glad I reacted to it. So thank you to everyone who brought this movie into my awareness, brought it to my attention. Thank you to all the patrons who voted for it on the poll, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction, because I sure as heck enjoyed watching this movie. Wow. If you want to see my full-length reaction to this movie, head on over to my Patreon, patreon.com/MadisonKTames. You'll find the link in the video description. Thanks for watching, and be sure to come back next week for Film Friday number 42 to see what I'll be watching next. Bye, guys.